Hello everyone, today we are with Paulina and she's going to talk to us about how it is to be the mum of a bilingual baby. So can you tell us a bit about yourself and your son Adam?
So I'm Polish. I came to England 11 years ago, and I have a son who is bilingual. He's 5, so he started school recently in September. My partner's English, which makes it a little bit difficult when it comes to teaching Adam Polish, because we do speak English at home.
Because your partner was never interested in learning Polish?
He's trying.
Yeah.
He's trying really hard, bless him, but it is a difficult language to learn. So as much as he understands more than he can say.
As
definitely.
Always.
Yeah.
So does Adam correct his dad about his Polish?
Yes, he does. He does. And he sort of acts a little bit like a translator. So if I say something to him and Pete doesn't understand, then he will just translate.
So what was your main reason for wanting to raise Adam as a bilingual child?
Well, I want him to be aware of his heritage, and I want him to be able to communicate with my parents, because they don't speak English.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important that he speaks to my family.
Yeah, makes sense. And so what were your ideas about what you need to do to raise your child as a bilingual?
Well, I think it's just about speaking to them continuously, and even if they do reply in English, which happens quite a lot, just keep going, because ultimately he understands everything. So his Polish was going very well from the start, and then unfortunately when he started school, he became a bit paranoid about speaking Polish. I'm not sure why.
It doesn't look so cool. It looks different from his friends.
Exactly. I think it's the peer pressure, because somehow, considering there's so many Polish people in this country, somehow he ended up in a school where he's the only Polish person.
Is he the only bilingual as well?
No. So not in his school, but in his class he's the only bilingual.
Okay, so that can make a difference.
Yes.
Because sometimes if you have children on the playground, if they speak different languages, they just exchange words from other languages. That makes being bilingual okay.
Well, I mean, he knows people from different years who are bilingual, because, for example, he's got a friend who he speaks to when he goes to his childminder, who's also bilingual.
And does he have any other people he can speak Polish to in a kind of, not necessarily everyday life, but typical, other than grandparents?
Yeah. He has a friend, but it's a very similar situation. So my best friend has a son who's 2 years older than Adam, and the same thing happened to him when he started school. He suddenly started not wanting to speak Polish, and it's even worse with them, because they both speak Polish at home, because both of his parents are Polish. They've lived here for a long time, but his dad, for example, is not very doesn't feel confident speaking English. So when then Oleg speaks to him in English, he doesn't always understand. But it still doesn't encourage him. Still speaks in English. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So when they play, we do always encourage them to speak Polish, and they will when we nag them. But then the moment we don't listen, they turn into English. Yeah.
But
it's a superpower to be able to communicate in 2 languages and to understand 2 languages, and it's very cool. But he doesn't understand it yet at this point, unfortunately.
It might change again when he's a teenager.
Yeah.
But you have to keep pushing until then.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I'm hoping they'll be sooner than that. But.
What are your experiences with support provided by nurseries or school staff in your aim to raise Adam as a bilingual?
I don't think there is much support. No. I don't think there's enough support. So with nursery, they were really good, because obviously they had quite a multicultural society. So they did have books in different languages, and they always pushed everyone to actually teach their children their native language as well as English. At school, I haven't really experienced any help at all. They do know that he's bilingual, but I don't think they focus on it as such.
Have you had any remarks from them about the fact that he's a bilingual?
No.
No, good. Well, it's better than saying like forget your language, which sometimes parents hear, which is just horrible.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
That's
sometimes
terrible.
they do.
Yeah. No, nothing like that.
Good.
I don't think they're against it as such. It's just they don't help to.
No.
They don't encourage
No.
neither.
That's a shame.
He really likes Spanish and he really wants me to teach him Spanish, but I said to him, first let's focus on Polish. And I did actually at one point. I tried with him speaking in Polish, in Spanish and then in English at the same time and teaching him the same
Translations?
Yeah, but he just literally focused on Spanish. He didn't, So I had to abandon the idea. But yeah, we'll just keep trying.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Have you encountered any difficulties with bilingual upbringing that you were not expecting at first?
I think the peer pressure definitely, because it has changed. Before Adam started school, his Polish was better than it is now, definitely, because he was more confident using it, and there was no problems. Whereas now, he doesn't want to speak it at all. So yeah, that's the peer pressure is. I knew that it existed, but I didn't think it would have such a big impact on his confidence, on his attitude really.
Yeah.
Towards
So maybe more his
language.
attitude.
Yeah.
But we are social animals, so definitely society has an impact on us.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Have you had the chance to speak with any other parents in a similar situation to yours? Whether they are Polish bilinguals or
uncles? Well, I have spoken because I'm always keen to find out what other people are doing, and I seem to be doing all the things that everyone else is doing. So I always just speak to him in Polish. We always do a bedtime story in Polish or in English. So one day Polish, one day English. So then we alternate between the two. And we do. When he watches television, I put the cartoons in Polish as well as in English, so he can experience both. And then we do try to go to parent as often as possible, or just try to get my mum to come over for a week. She has just been for a week over the half term, and it has.
He had no choice.
And he had no choice, and it was really good because it had made a positive impact on him.
Has Adam started talking in his two languages, or did he start using productively one before the other?
No, when he started talking, he was speaking in both.
Both straight away.
Yeah, and he had no problems at all when speaking. He was very confident in both. Every time he spoke to me in English, I would say, I don't understand. And now he does it sometimes to me. If I say something to Pete in English, he'll go, just as a joke, he'll go, nie rozumiem. What are you saying? I don't understand.
Yeah, but at the same time, you knew from very early on that you spoke English and you could understand English, so that's why it's best to put it as a joke.
Oh yeah.
Does Adam ever rebel against one or the other language, and does he prefer one to the other?
Oh yeah, well, English, ever since he started, he didn't used to, but ever since he started school, he has been, and I have to say that his start to the school adventure wasn't very good, because he was actually bullied to start with.
That's bad.
By one of the students. So I think that's why I don't try to push it too hard, because he had quite a difficult time at the beginning of the year, and it took a lot of work to actually make him happy at school, both from us and from his teachers. But the issue has been resolved now, and he's absolutely fine. But it's just little steps. Because of that, I think I think that might have just affected the whole idea of speaking Polish at the same time, because his confidence has dropped massively in himself.
Do you think he was singled out, or he may have thought that he had been singled out by the bully because he was bilingual?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, because he was targeting a lot of different students, so it wasn't just him.
Not just
as
him.
it
That
happened,
makes it slightly easier.
As it happened, he was paired with that boy because the teacher gave him a list of students, good students, as in role models that the boy could work with and learn from how to behave, and he chose Adam. So that's why it was very targeted at him, because they spent a lot of time together working together, and it wasn't for a while until because he wasn't himself, but he didn't tell us for a long time that it was happening, and then obviously the damage was already done.
Yeah, that's the problem with bullying. It takes a while to be seen.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that all had a bit of effect on him in general. I don't think it was anything to do with the fact that he's bilingual, but it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just, he is a victim. Does Adam get to spend time with other Polish speakers on a regular basis?
Yeah, so with me, but also with my friends, and we do meet quite often. So yeah, he does. But yeah, there is the issue of them speaking English.
Yeah.
When we don't listen to them.
Yeah.
At the same time, we don't want to sort of overshadow it and completely and say and listen exactly to every word they're saying, because we do want them to have independence and just have a bit of a freedom to play together, really.
And if you play together, let's say mums and boys, would you use Polish? Like if you play board games or just an activity, you can do all the four of you together?
Yeah, no, I speak Polish always, and he generally replies in Polish as well, because he wants me to play with him. So yeah, then
best motivation.
Yeah, he's very intelligent when it comes. He knows how to, in a way, manipulate me. So he will speak Polish when he knows that it's useful, and that will gain him something.
Well, that's the thing with children. They are absolutely clever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sometimes too clever.
Hopefully, we still have the ascendant. And how often does he visit his family or your family in Poland?
As often as possible, at least I would say 4 times a year. And then on top of that, they sometimes come here. But because I do have quite a big family, we always tend to go there just so everyone can see him, because it's more difficult for them to come here, because it would be just one person at a time. So yeah, and he loves it there. Yeah, because my parents live on a farm, so it's a completely different world for him, and just being around animals, being around the farm stuff, helping. He loves helping my dad, so yeah. And
definitely your dad needs the help, because that must be so much work. And does he have cousins?
Yes, yeah. So they're all younger. Unfortunately, they're all younger than him, which makes it. But they are all starting to speak now. So I think that will push him even further.
Help, because then he will be the leader, and you will obviously have to use Polish to lead the games.
No, absolutely. So he has 3 cousins, 2 boys and 1 girl, and they he will definitely be the leader.
Yeah, that will help. Good. Which culture does Adam identify most with?
It's hard to say at this age, to be honest, because he doesn't really. We always laughed when he was little, when he first asked, what does it mean to be Polish and what does it mean to be English? I made a joke that it means that half of him is Polish, so his left leg is Polish, but his right leg is English. And he always sort of refers back to it. I'm using my Polish leg, or I'm using my English leg. So it is he knows he's, we do talk about him being Polish and being English, and just being have two identities and how cool it is.
Mm.
I try to make it as much fun as possible, but I don't think he fully understands at this age that there is identity. Yeah, because he's just 5.
Yeah, he's 5, and if anything, knowing what a country is at 5 is already difficult. So, I mean, at least he knows that there's more than one language in the world.
Oh yeah, no,
so he has that advantage over others.
He definitely does, and I mean, we do try. I do try follow all the Polish traditions. So we do have the Polish Christmas dinner on the 24th rather than 25, but then we have the English dinner on the 25th.
Fun, double and fun.
So we do, we do follow. We do Easter in the Polish way.
How are you planning to encourage Adam to learn more languages in the future? Show an interest in other languages.
Yeah, no, I would love to. I would love to, because I speak 5 languages, so I'd love him to at least speak Spanish, because that's the, in my opinion, most useful and easiest language to learn. So I would definitely encourage him to study more. And he thinks it's very cool that I can speak to other people.
It is.
Yet he doesn't. Yeah, there's 2 sides of the story. He thinks it's very cool, but at the same time, it's difficult to get him to speak one. So. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, it's all about trying and keeping on trying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think are the main benefits of being bilingual for yourself, or as you would kind of project and see for your child?
It's understanding the world and have different, because I think each language gives you a different perspective to life, and just having a different viewpoint and understanding different cultures. Definitely, it's useful, and it's also very. It gives you a lot of satisfaction to actually being able to understand people from other countries, because other people might not, who speak only one language, might not be able to do that.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to parents wishing to raise a bilingual or multilingual child or children?
I would just say don't give up. It's frustrating, it's hard work, and I think you just have to keep going. There will be days where it will be amazing and you'll be just so proud, and there will be days when they don't want to say a word and you just feel like crying, but you just have to keep going.
Yeah. But there are satisfactions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When they actually can say something for the first time, or have a very intelligent conversation, even at this age, you know, it's so, there's so much satisfaction and so much pride in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And where do you think languages are headed in the UK? Being in a university where we teach modern languages, where we try to send people away, or as a parent?
Well, it's difficult, because I'm actually a qualified MFL teacher, and it is a difficult battle for MFL teachers and for schools in this country, because first of all, the schools don't have enough qualified teachers. I have worked with teachers who have done, let's say, GCSE French 12 years before,
and enough to teach.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they would have done it 12 years beforehand, and they were just asked to do it, and they don't have the confidence, they don't have the knowledge to teach the language yet. The school cannot recruit anyone else, so this is as good as it gets. So it's really difficult, because the schools are trying to provide languages, because you can't negate that, they do try, but at the same time the GCSE has recently changed. So before it was much easier, because students could actually prepare. So they would have a topic, they would prepare the topic, they would literally learn it by heart, then they would recite it in their exam and they would get a good grade. Whereas, quite positively in my opinion, the GCSE, language GCSE has changed, and now it focuses more on free speaking. So the students do not know, they know the topics, so they cover the topics throughout the 2 years, in year 10 and year 11, but they do not know which topic they will have. All topics are covered during the speaking exam, but it is more sort of you're there, you're getting it, you've being asked the question, you have to answer.
It's not rote learning, it's just not, using the language.
Absolutely, and I don't think there's enough time. I don't think that it has been taken into consideration how much more time should be allowed for the students to learn, free language, because they don't have enough time. The teacher doesn't have enough time to speak to every student and to practice speaking with every student. And it's very difficult, and a lot of people, and actually now a lot of schools are sort of almost discouraging students to do languages because it's so difficult to get a good grade, because they're testing a skill which is really positive, but they don't give them enough chance to learn that skill because there's just simply not enough hours. When you have a classroom of 30 students and you suddenly have to, you're trying to teach them all how to speak, you can't do it.
So that's why, because I read an article in newspaper where they were saying people are finding learning languages difficult, and to me the way I always find language is more easy to learn because it's something we can relate to, while physics can, at least to some level, be more abstract, while language is something that we are using all the time.
Exactly. So
and I did not understand that, and now that you're telling me this, then it makes more sense.
Yeah. So it is a very difficult battle, I would say, that the schools are, because at the same time they do try to do well because that affects their funding. Yes. So they do want to be in a good place in the league tables, and if that means that they have less students studying languages at the GCSE level,
because they were also saying about funding is that they have less funding and they are actually often giving up languages because
of that.
Yeah, because it costs more money.
And it is difficult comparing to other subjects where they actually test the knowledge rather than the skill. It is difficult.
But then we get these students at university and they have been able to use rote learning, but they don't really, in a way, think and criticize what they have. They're just mostly rote learning, except this time they have to do it on their own.
Yeah. Anything else you would like to add?
That we did not discuss yet.
I think it's very important that languages are taught at schools, just going back to the school teacher, because they don't only cover a skill, but they teach so many different skills, and a lot of people forget how the gaps in knowledge are actually being filled within the MFL lessons, and people don't realise that. So for example, I used to teach in a secondary school, yet it didn't stop me from teaching students how to use analog clock because they didn't know, or how to showing them where different countries are because they don't know. So it's MFL really covers a lot of different subjects in sometimes very unexpected ways. And like for example, with my year 9s, they've learned that some vegetables are actually vegetables because they thought they were fruit. So it's just, those little things, those little gaps in knowledge that wouldn't have been picked up normally, they get picked up in MFL because suddenly you start from the bottom. So if you look at language learning, which generally in this country, when they start year 7 in secondary school, a lot of them would have had French for year 2. Sometimes they wouldn't have had any language at all. And so they start from scratch, and they start the basic level like the baby almost would have started when they were very little, and then they relearn the world again and everything about the world. So, and it also stimulates their thinking, because we do talk a lot about different problems in MFL in the GCSE, and they don't tend to have an opinion, even though being 15, 16, they don't seem to have an opinion. Whereas language learning forces them to have their opinion because that's what's needed for.
Yeah, because you talk about also in other places.
Exactly.
And people have other lives.
Exactly. So you do form your opinion. So I think overall, languages are really, really important because they cover so many different aspects.
And would you say it might help them understand their own language? Because
Oh, yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
very surprising that in English,
absolutely.
in England you don't
Absolutely.
do grammar.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
don't criticize, you don't
Yeah,
just
they
dissect your
they
language.
suddenly learn what the verb is, what the noun is, what conjugation is, and you know, they've learned a lot of different skills.
Yeah.
So it is very important for many different reasons, not just the skill to be able to communicate with other people, but also just to fill in the gaps and create their own opinion on the world.
Yeah, well, that's hopefully what we want to do
with future adults.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.